Tonight on First Tuesday.
My goodness, if you adopt a child with special needs, it isn't going to be plain sailing.
Campaigning to find new homes for children with handicaps. And leaving the dole in Hull for jobs in Iceland.
They've given me a new lease in life where I'd finish man in England.
Good evening and welcome. Later, 11 years after the Cod War, Humberside workers man the fish factories again in Iceland. But our first film tonight is about adoption, finding the right parents for children with very special needs. There was a time when children with handicaps were considered unadoptable, but Parents for Children, a group whose aim is to find families for these special children, were gratified at the response when they publicised youngsters like baby Claire and 6-year-old Laura in an appeal for prospective parents. People saw not just the handicap, but the child. People were more than ready to be parents to Claire to provide a home for Laura.
I'm outside today.
What did you do today?
Tell me. Saturday, yeah.
Yes.
I say most good girls.
Well, never did, Laura. More? Yeah, good girl. That's lovely. Good girl.
This is Laura. She is 7 years old. She almost died as a baby. She's now physically and mentally handicapped and blind.
Good girl today. Would you like some more?
Laura is totally dependent on Linda, her temporary foster mother. But fostering is only a short-term solution. Laura needs a family.
Good girl. Some more, Laura?
Yes.
Good girl. It's nearly all gone, you know. Look, it's nearly all gone. There. That's lovely. Good girl. All gone now. All gone.
It's your cheek. It's your cheek in your ear. You want to do that. You want to do that.
This is Claire. She was brain damaged when she was 2 months old. She's acutely, physically and mentally handicapped. Her limbs need regular exercise. She may never walk, talk or feed herself.
Good girl. You're going to kick with your legs. Yeah.
Like Laura, Claire's best chance of progress is adoption, life within a permanent family. But most people would consider a child this handicapped unadoptable.
Hello. It's a clever girl.
But good.
What if I get your bell? Let's pick up your bell. Where's the sound? It's up here again.
I want to say again.
It's up here again.
So.
You're so busy chattering, you're not listening, are you?
Yeah. I want to go again. Yeah, so then.
That's so nice.
These photographs are the first stage in a radical process devised by the adoption agency Parents for Children. It will involve advertising the children explicitly on television, radio and in the newspapers. The aim? To find parents willing to take on these unadoptable children.
Babies had to undergo medical examinations soon after birth if they were to be adopted. And either they were stamped as adoptable, or if anything at all was wrong with them, and it could be something quite minor, or it could be mental illness in the family, or some degenerative disease in the family, it would be stamped unadoptable or not fit for adoption. And once a child had that label, it would go through its life in care. And the agency was started to see, are these children adoptable? Could we push out the boundaries of adoption?
April the 8th, the Publicity Day. Publicity is at the heart of the Parents for Children approach.
That's with the toys, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's the purpose of having a day like this?
Well, today we're making publicity for the children, and what we want to do today is make families aware that there are these children needing permanent homes. Many of the families who come to us say they've always been interested in adopting a child, but didn't know that there were children with disabilities who needed homes.
To this one. King Cole. You write your name on it.
Laura and Claire are joined by two older mentally handicapped children. Together, they form the group at the heart of the project.
Doesn't matter. I mean, it can be at an angle. Doesn't really matter at all.
Oh, good girl. Oh, yes, clever girl.
The children are encouraged to perform for the cameras in an attempt to attract potential parents.
What did you say?
Come through this way.
Oh. Go, 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 there we go, go, here we go, 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 go.
I think there is a generalised fear, which I'm sure is shared by some members of the public, that somehow it's not very nice, it's unsavoury, it's demeaning for the children concerned to be presented in this kind of way, like cattle or puppies or cans of beans. In a way, I agree. I think it is very sad that we have to go to those sorts of lengths. I think we're talking about the lesser of evils, and I think that we should go a very, very long way along the line of presenting the genuine and real needs of children, if one does it sensitively, rather than leave children languishing in hospitals or in residential homes, deprived of the permanent family that they need.
Information on each child is set out on a photo sheet and sent to the hundreds of potential parents who inquire.
To those people who feel that we shouldn't publicise children's needs for a family, I would say, I wonder how they would feel if they didn't have a family. Children live without families. It's our embarrassment that they haven't got them. I think that's what the hang-up about publicity is. Many people are embarrassed by having the needs of children publicised. It's our shame that children grow up in institutions without families. And we don't like that brought home to us. We don't like to know about it. We'd rather it was kept quiet.
To give the children a chance of family life, Parents for Children are prepared to consider almost anyone as an adoptive parent.
Not by me.
But first, they must persuade the local authorities responsible for each child to accept their new approach.
Do you have any stipulations regarding the kind of family the child should have?
I don't think we would actually, in total, rule out any of the categories, but we would, I think, need to seek further clarification and advice on, one, Jehovah's Witnesses in regards to complications like blood transfusions, etc. Secondly, I think there might be a question mark against homosexuals, and again, we may not rule them out entirely, but we would certainly want a lot more discussion about the implications of that.
Would it be fair to say the child's local authority will consider Jehovah's Witnesses, homosexuals, as parents for the child, but would need further discussion?
Very careful further discussion,
Would
I think,
need
yes.
very careful.
I don't think we could give an open blank check on that.
Adoption 10 years ago was characterised by a set of assumptions about who are suitable adoptive parents. There was an image of the ideal adopters. They were essentially young, less than 35 and preferably quite a lot less, married, of course, a stable marriage, a good and steady and stable income, plenty of space in their house, and everything looking good in socioeconomic terms. And that stereotype of adopters, which was probably true about the majority of people who adopted healthy white babies at the end of the 60s, has, I think, in some agencies been perpetuated and is still applied. We've seen a revolution in adoption practice in the last 10 years.
We don't deal in categories of parents. There are no kinds of parents we rule out, and there are no kinds of parents we gather in. We look for parents or a parent for each child. That's why we're called Parents for Children. And parents come in as many shapes and sizes as children do. We have placed with single parents, we have placed with single women, with single men. We have placed with widows, divorced people, remarried people, with people who themselves have disabilities. Basically, there are no rules.
Christine Parkinson is 38 and single. She lives alone in a mobile home. She's determined to adopt a handicapped child.
I've always felt that I wanted to give a home to a child that nobody else wanted. And I think, as with everybody, if they're honest, I would love to have somebody of my own to care for. There's a gap in me that needs filling in that area. I think that there is a special child somewhere that needs one-to-one relationship. The single-mindedness that I can give. It's just a question of finding the right child. I'd already heard about Laura from Parents for Children, so I was waiting for the sheet. I'd heard about her some weeks before and was actually waiting with great anticipation for the sheets. There was something about Laura that just touched my heart right from the beginning, and I just went straight for her. I can't pretend that I haven't got enormous reservations about it, because I have. It would be very foolish to go into something like this in a light-headed manner. It's not a garden tea party, it's a lifelong commitment. And with the sort of child that I'm talking about, I have to be realistic, and I have to say that if the child is 6 now, I'm 38. In 10 years' time, when that child's 16, I'm going to be heading for 50. But my heart still says I want her. My head knows that there are a lot of ifs and buts about it, but my heart still wants her.
Bring it into this pocket.
The Keebles live in Essex. Clive Keeble has been unemployed for 15 months with back trouble.
That's it.
Peggy supports the family, working nights as a ward sister. They've decided to apply to adopt baby Claire.
We had already asked, actually, quite a long time ago. We'd said that we were interested in a baby if one came in, you know, if there was one on Parents for Children's books, but of course there wasn't one at the time. So we've been waiting.
The Keebles have already adopted one handicapped child from Parents for Children. Rebecca is technically still a ward of court and cannot be shown on television.
Our daughter is handicapped. She's progressing, she has changed, she has become a totally different person. And but she came to us very disturbed because of her background. And it would be nice to have one, you know, have another child that doesn't have 7 years of deprivation, that we can, you know, hopefully give her the security and love that
she needs at an earlier age.
Yeah.
Right.
Becky, cut. Good girl. Hold the handles.
Hold it carefully.
Mary and Ron Nichols are in their late 40s. They have already adopted Becky, a child with Down's syndrome. They're hoping to find her a companion.
It's not hot, is it? It's not hot.
Becky's 16. She's severe Downs. It's took a while to unteach the institutional habits, like the eating. She had like a mechanical digger when she first came.
Right, yeah.
I mean, she'd take a plate full of food in seconds, you know. We taught her to chew.
She actually cleared all the cups and the ashtray off the table, off the table and everything. And we said, well, we'll have that, Becky. And we take her now. She'll sit her as good as gold. She'll eat properly. And I think that's a great achievement to prove in such a short time.
More interested in it.
Daddy.
Daddy put it on the table.
Good girl.
Claire, she was born in '84. Claire was born a healthy baby, but was injured shortly after. Yeah, I wonder what that means. And it's certain that many of the defects of this will be with her for life. She will also...
Like the Keebles, Mary and Ron have set their sights on baby Claire.
Although she will make progress, which in absolute terms will be very small, exactly what they said about Becky.
Yeah.
This will seem significant to those caring for her. In the same way as we saw the picture of Becky, the actual child stood out to us. It was almost as though Becky asked us to be her parents by looking at that picture. It's the same with Claire. We've both had 2 marriages. I've had a breakdown, and there's quite a few things. I mean, we're not academically up to par. I mean, neither of us have passed any O-levels. It's in fact, I feel that the fact that we haven't passed O-levels and things puts us closer to Becky. We understand learning problems.
Her ways and things like that.
If there is anything that our families have in common, it is not that they haven't got any problems, but that they've overcome problems or are overcoming problems. They are people who can deal with difficulties in life, because my goodness, if you adopt a child with special needs, it isn't going to be plain sailing. So you might as well have some experience of how to negotiate your way through life.
May the 16th and the Activity Day, the first chance for prospective parents to meet the children. For Claire and for Laura, there is open competition. Mary and Ron make a beeline for baby Claire. Clive and Peggy, interested in the same child, are more cautious.
Is she lovely? She's fast asleep. Yeah. He's been asleep since before we left home.
She's lovely, quite bad, but now she has improved. Yeah.
Oh, then you're not going to full. Come on then. Oh, what a beautiful smile, but that doesn't help the drink get down there.
Sometimes if you just put your thumb under her cheek.
Claire.
Oops. Hang on.
What are
you doing? You want your dinner? Oh, it's a shame. Do you want dinner? Yes. Yeah.
Was it difficult having to watch while other people held her?
A little bit, yes.
I suppose, yes.
Yes, but it was worth waiting for.
We have found out quite a bit about her.
Yeah, we had time to talk to her social worker and her carers, so the time hasn't been wasted by any means. We've found everything, well, found out, I think, all the things that we wanted to find out. Yes, there's no great surprises. She's just, just what I thought she would be. Yeah. A lovely little girl,
Lovely,
aren't you?
actually. She's lovely.
To hand her over to another prospective mother is, it tears at you, virtually, emotionally. I mean, we knew this was going to come about, but knowing something and actually experiencing it is different, particularly one person that's interested. We can see that they fit together very well, and this afternoon has been rather difficult emotionally.
Meanwhile, Chris Parkinson has been introduced to Laura.
It keeps her in one place.
What a good idea.
And it keeps her warm.
Yeah, they're perfectly normal 2-year-olds that I fostered that ended up on the floor with a big bump. So.
Go on then, tell me. She will tell you all that goes on.
My instinctive reaction was that I just wanted to hold her. I just wanted to get my hands on her and cuddle her and get her to know her better. My first reaction really is I want her, but it's very emotional. And I obviously am going to have to go away and think when I've calmed down and I'm not so emotional. I couldn't make a decision now because I'm in love with her at the moment.
Hang on, I haven't tickled you yet.
Chris is not the only person interested in Laura. Ramon Puri is the only single man to have approached Parents for Children.
No, you close your hand again. I can't do with your hand closed. You're deliberately closing your hand now, aren't you? Yes, you are. See, I can tell you're deliberately doing it now. Yeah. Go, shall we start again? Turn your hand around, please. Don't you want me to do it? Oh, dear. Oh. Oh, yeah.
That's what she does. Yeah. Yeah, I feel a bit possessive towards her at the moment, and he was very good and let me have first go at getting to know her and kept out of the way, and I'm trying desperately to do it at the moment, but I don't feel very comfortable about it. I'm jealous, if I'm honest. I would like to be spending the time that he's spending with her, and he's getting good reactions from her, and I don't like that either.
Go away. Head back on. That's a good girl. That's a good girl. Rotten chop. Oh, that's carrot. That's your favourite, I think.
No.
No? Not your favourite anymore. You've gone off carrot, have you?
Nope.
Oops, have you had enough?
You have a child like Laura, who is severely and multiply disabled. We don't know if she'll ever walk or talk or sit up even. And we wonder who on earth is going to want to be her parents. And it's always amazing to find that it isn't just one person. There is actually competition. It's sometimes unbelievable to have people compete for a child like this, who I think not so many years ago would have been regarded as unfit for adoption, wouldn't have been even considered for adoption, would have spent her whole life in an institution.
We were aware of the feeling of competition between the two of them, which they both handled very well, really. I mean, they took it in turns to be with Laura, but I didn't realise how exhausting I'd find that as a sort of onlooker.
It was actually people were almost competing. And it felt very uncomfortable, sort of trying to get hold of Claire. And it felt for me quite threatening. I felt as though at one point she was going to be ripped up into little pieces, you know, just to satisfy. So that felt...
At the end of a long day, social workers get together with Parents for Children to discuss which family will adopt which child. It's the moment of decision for Clive and Peggy Keeble.
Come here.
Peggy, it's Philip Stogden here at Parents for Children. Hello. Peggy, we've had the meeting to decide who to go ahead with regarding Claire.
Oh, yes.
And we're going to go ahead with the other family, Peggy.
You have?
Yes.
Okay.
I think that there were a couple of things, really, that sort of tipped the balance, if you like. I think the first thing is that we felt that what you've done with Becky suggests that your strength really lies in bringing out the normal things in a child. I know that Rebecca is disabled.
Far from normal. I mean, Rebecca never ever is going to be normal. I mean, you don't know Rebecca, do you? So,
No, but you
know, you won't know. But I mean, she is never ever anyway near normal.
No, it's a question of degree. I'm not saying that she's normal. I'm saying that there's a potential for certain little bits to be normal in terms of going out, being with other people.
You know, the way you described your day, you know, going to McDonald's and things like that. I'm just saying that in those sort of circumstances, Claire would not in any way be able to be seen in that light. Perhaps I phrased that badly, but I was trying to get that across, that, you know, that there's not going to be anything about Claire which is going to be, she's going to be able to join in those things in the way that Rebecca does now. I mean, does what I've said make any sense? It doesn't make any sense.
I feel like a criminal. You know, she's been taken out of her home, put with us, to try and give her her normal life. Because we're doing that, it seems to be wrong. That we're trying to give a handicapped child a normal life. I think that, you know, that's why she's here, and that's why we thought we could do the same with Claire. The difference is with Claire, we thought we could do it at an earlier stage than we are with Rebecca. It's just...
It is very hard to have to make decisions that, say, family A can have a child and family B can't have that child, because it clearly isn't fair. But it has to be made. The child can't be cut in half.
I wish we hadn't done it. I think, you know, I have become very disillusioned. Perhaps that's, you know, just today's reaction. And perhaps, you know, next week when we've seen our social worker, I will feel differently. But at the moment, I do feel very disillusioned.
They are the adults in the situation, and they must be able to take care of themselves. They clearly expose themselves to some extent if they come to an adoption agency and say, we want to adopt. But they are adults, and we have to believe that they can look after themselves. The children cannot look after themselves, and it is our responsibility to find the best parents for them and to act on their behalf.
Christine has been selected as adoptive parent for Laura. It is now the 23rd of September. Chris hasn't seen Laura since the activity day 4 months ago.
It's been very busy. There's been an awful lot to organise, schools and respite care and finance and cars and seeing her specialist paediatrician and people like that. But it still seemed interminable. I'm very excited. I'm obviously nervous. I know it's right. I've known it was right ever since I first met her, and I just want to get on with it now.
Hello. Chris, come in. Fine, thank you.
Laura? Come and see who's coming to see you. There you are, Chris. Oh, there you are. Hello, sweetheart.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, hello. You smell nice. Have you had your hair washed?
It's going to be... Oh, Laura, boy, am I glad to see you. Oh, am I glad to see you.
Yes.
Is she better because she's been fitting?
Was
Oh, God.
I knocked on the door.
Oh, dear. Thank you.
In the kitchen.
The two people that love you best in all the world are being a bit daft, Laura.
That's right.
Yep.
Is that right, Laura?
Are we being a bit soppy?
Is that right?
Are we being a bit soppy?
I think we're struggling, and we're very relieved that it's almost at an end. She's very, very strong-willed, which can lead to hours and hours of temper tantrums. Her size, she's very heavy to lift. She's very stiff. She's just extremely difficult little girl through no fault of her own, but she's very difficult.
Yeah.
She says,
That's it.
good girl,
You're
good
a
girl,
good
well
girl,
done.
aren't you? Beautiful.
Good girl.
I think she's steadier than she was at the activity day.
May well be.
Yeah.
We did originally say when we were consulted that we'd like Laura to have two parents, two women, two men, two anything, but she needed two parents, definitely, because Laura is very hard work and my husband has shared her as much as anybody else. I'm concerned for Chris, really, not for Laura. I'm concerned for Chris. She's going to have a very tough time. She's going to need to adjust her life so much, and it really will be a life based around Laura, and she's going to be exhausted. I don't think she really realises, obviously, at this stage, just what caring for Laura 24 hours a day, 7 days a week involves.
Oops, thank you. Yeah. Home, Laurie. Home. This is it, Laura. There. There.
Laura.
There you are. Look at you with your trousers falling off. This is home now. This is a bit strange, isn't it? Does it smell funny? It's very quiet. Can you hear it? Can you hear the birds? Can you hear the birds? Oh, come on then. Tell me what you think.
I'm gonna go. What's it now?
Oh. Look, look.
I'm gonna go on.
Yes, grass all over the carpet. That's the first thing we have to do, isn't it? Give it a hoover. Yeah. It's home, Laura. It's home.
And Laura can now feed herself and even walk a few steps. All the other children have been placed. After the break, we head north to Iceland.